What's up everyone, I'm Sean Kelly. This is chapter 20 of the North Carolina Real Estate Exam Prep, the very last chapter on basic real estate investing. If you followed along this whole time, thank you and I hope this all helped. After all of this, I will continue to make real estate agent and other real estate topic videos, so stay subscribed and let's get on to basic real estate investing. Real estate investing is my lifeblood. For 9 years now, I've known that my retirement will not come from some 401k, even though I've had senior corporate jobs. Retirement will not come in the form of me becoming a real estate agent when I turn 65 just for a little bit of extra income. No, it will come in the form of real estate investing. At least that's the plan and has been for a long time. I have a few properties under my belt now and I've been learning about the subject for such a long time. So why do I do it and why do the richest people on earth do it, both men and women from countries all over the world? Your typical interest rate in a savings account is like 0.10%. So if you invest $100, after a year you get 10 cents back from the bank. If you throw your money into the stock market, on average you get a 7% return. That statistic really only counts though for people who hold their stocks for over a 10-year period of time. Boring. Now real estate, if done right, can bring 10, 20, 30% return on investment in your first year. So that right there is your first pro, your rate of return. Now with stocks, you don't have control over these companies. But in real estate, you do have control over your own business. Then there are the massive tax benefits that we discussed in chapter 18. Then there's the cash flow income from your tenants. And then appreciation, which real estate almost always appreciates. Well, then why doesn't everyone do it? Sounds great. First things first, there is somewhat a high risk here. At least the book says there's high risk in real estate, especially if you don't know what you're doing. If you don't buy a property correctly, like you get it for a bad deal or you just didn't do the math correctly on it, you can go upside down on the house and lose out on a lot, and it's really hard to then sell that property quickly. Even if you find a buyer, it still takes a month or two for that contract to go forward, so not being liquid is a con. Then one of the biggest hiccups for many is the high entry cost. Real estate is expensive, especially for a second property or an investment property. You typically need to put 20% down for a second home. Property management can be costly as well, but not always necessary. Speaking of risk, when it comes to investing in most things, the higher the rate of return, or the possible rate of return, the higher the risk. That savings account that's making you 0.10%, that's almost 100% safe. That money is guaranteed. That stock that's making you 7% a year, yeah, that's bigger than that 0.10%. But not only is there the chance of you gaining 7%, there's the chance or the risk that you could lose 7%. Heck, you could even lose 99%. Think about Enron. If you had invested $10,000 in Enron back in the day, that money would be worth $0 a week later. Now with real estate, I don't really see much risk in it at all, especially when you can pivot because you control your own business, right? Like if you were planning originally to do a flip on the house, but the market goes south, well then you can hold the property and then rent it out. If you can't hold the property and rent it out, there's several different options you can move around to. But the book is trying to make a general point. The higher the return, possible return, the higher the risk that comes with it. Now we get to why real estate investing is so great. Because of leverage. When you borrow money to buy an investment property, you are borrowing 80% of that money. Your bank is covering 80% of that upfront cost. You are covering the other 20% with your down payment. However, this is the great part. You have almost 100% control of that property. Let me repeat all of that. You buy a $100,000 house. You pay $20,000 for it. The bank pays $80,000 for it. You get 100% of the house. How is that fair? The bank doesn't live there, right? No, you do. The person who only put 20% down on that house. If you rent out that house for $1,000 a month, the bank doesn't get 80% of it, right? You get it. Now you have to pay off your mortgage and your taxes and things like that, but anything extra is all yours. So you are making money off of something the bank bought for you. And one more example here, just because I love this topic so much. If you buy that $100,000 house, put $20,000 down on it, and the bank pays the other $80,000 for it, and then you sell it 10 years later for $200,000, who gets all of that extra value? Simply speaking, the bank does not get that $100,000 extra value. You do. The bank just financed an entire property for you and you walk away 10 years later with $100,000. Plus all of the cash flow and rent income that you got from it, plus all your tax benefits we spoke about, all of that, I don't know, $15,000 a year all of that doing nothing after you hire a property manager, of course. That is leverage. We covered this twice now, but let's go through this equation again. So you have PIN C, your potential income, your effective income, your net operating income, which gives you your cash flow before taxes. An investor is typically just interested in that cash flow portion down here. We will look at figuring out the cash on cash rate of return, or as many people call it, the cash on cash ROI, the return on investment. So here's a little circle friend here. You have your cash flow up here before taxes, then equity and rate below. So let's say the property costs $500,000. The investor pays $100,000 for it. That's our 20% down payment, which is the common amount. And it makes $15,000 in cash flow. We divide the $15,000 cash flow by the $100,000 of equity, or down payment, which gives us a 15% ROI, return on investment. So simply stated, you take the money you're making per year and divide it by the amount you spent on the investment. Done. So that math was about the rental income rate of return. To get the rate of return when you buy or sell homes is very similar. Circle chart. So put the gain on top with investment and percent of profit below. If a house is worth $200,000 and the investor bought it for $150,000, what is their rate of return if they sold it? So the gain here is $50,000. It went up by $50,000. So we take that gain and divide it by the original cost of $150,000. So very similar to our rent equation. That gives us a 33.33% return on investment, which is pretty good. And that's it for all 20 chapters of the North Carolina real estate exam prep. We won't have a review here, that was way too quick of a chapter. Again, I'll have some math videos along with some other midterm and bigger review videos. So a lot more real estate fun coming up. Stay tuned. Thank you for watching and checking out the series. It's been fun.